You know that feeling, right? You've spent hours with your flashcards, you're nailing the grammar, you feel like you're finally getting somewhere with Mandarin, and then a native speaker talks to you, and it all just turns into static. It is so frustrating. But hey, don't worry. In this explainer, we are going to get to the bottom of that exact problem. It's like there's this huge gap between the Chinese you learn and the Chinese people actually speak. That super clear, slow, perfect audio from your app? Yeah, good luck finding that on a noisy street or in a real fast-paced conversation. It feels like a totally different language. And the first thing you need to know is you are absolutely not alone. This is probably the biggest hurdle for every single person learning Mandarin. So let's get into it. Let's figure out how we can start chipping away at that listening wall until it comes tumbling down. But first, let's zoom out for a second. It's really important to get that listening comprehension well, it's just plain hard. It's a tough skill to build in any new language, not just Chinese. There are some universal challenges we all have to face. I mean, think about it. When you're reading, you're the boss. You set the pace. You can go back, reread a sentence, look a word up. But listening, it's like trying to drink from a fire hose. Information is just flying at you, and your brain has to catch it all in real time. And on top of that, people don't talk like robots. They slur their words, they use slang you've never heard, and they do it all while a bus is driving by or a coffee machine is screaming in the background. It's a lot to handle. Okay, so if that's the baseline for any language, now we can talk about Mandarin. Because, oh yeah, Mandarin brings its own special set of boss-level challenges to the party that can make listening feel extra tough. And the big one, the one everyone talks about, is of course the tones. You see, in English, if I change my tone, it just changes the emotion. Great. Can be excited or it can be sarcastic, right? But in Mandarin, changing the tone changes the literal, fundamental meaning of the word. And yeah, here's the classic example every single learner sees on day one. Now, in a real conversation, context usually saves you from actually mixing up your mom and a horse. But the point is, your ear has to do so much extra work. A tiny little shift in pitch, and you've got a totally different word on your hands. That's a huge amount of extra processing for your brain to do. Now, check this out, because this is the next massive hurdle. Homophones, which are just words that sound the same. English has thousands and thousands of different sounding syllables to build words from. Mandarin, on the other hand, only has about 400. Even when you add the tones, you're only looking at about 1,300 unique sounds. That means a crazy number of words sound either exactly the same or super similar. You have to rely almost entirely on context to figure out what's being said. And just when you think you're getting the hang of that standard textbook Mandarin, boom, you run into regional accents. You go to Beijing, and suddenly there's this sound attached to everything. You listen to someone from Taiwan, and the consonants sound softer. And in a lot of southern China, sounds like sh can turn into s, and n and l can get all mixed up. It's just one more layer of complexity your brain has to sort through. Okay, so we've got tones, we've got homophones, we've got accents, we've got the fact that listening is just hard in general. It can really feel like an impossible mountain to climb. But what if I told you we could boil all of that, every single one of those problems, down to just two simple core issues? This is where things start to click. So let's just ask it. What's the real deal here? With all this stuff going on, what is actually, truly stopping you from understanding what people are saying? And believe it or not, the answer is this simple. Number one, you just don't know enough words. Yet. And number two, your brain isn't used to the specific sounds, the rhythm, and the flow of the language. Yet. That's really it. Tones, homophones, accents, they all become way less of a problem when you fix these two things. So now we have a clear two-step plan. All right, let's get into it. We're going to tackle these two problems head-on, starting with the first one, building your vocabulary, but doing it in a much smarter and faster way. Okay, so the goal, if you want to be able to comfortably understand things like TV shows, podcasts, or just everyday conversations, is a passive vocabulary of about 10,000 words. Now, I know, that number looks huge, it sounds totally insane, but just hang on, because it is not nearly as scary as it looks. Here's the key. We have to understand the difference between passive and active vocab. Your active vocabulary is the collection of words you can easily pull out of your head and use in a sentence when you're speaking. For fluency, you need maybe 5,000 of those. But your passive vocabulary is just all the words you recognize when you hear or see them. And for listening, that's our goal, recognition. It's much, much easier to recognize a word than it is to produce it yourself. And keep these 3 things in mind. First, you're going to feel massive improvement after just the first 1,000 or 2. Second, this isn't a race. It's a long-term project you just chip away at. And third, and this is the game changer, using smart techniques like mnemonics makes the whole process way, way faster. So what does that look like? Well, instead of just repeating a word over and over, you create a crazy mental picture. Let's take the word朋友, which means friend. The first part, peng, kind of sounds like penguin, right? And the second part, yo, sounds like someone shouting, yo! So you build a little movie in your head. You picture a penguin. Maybe he's wearing sunglasses, and he sees his best friend across the street and shouts, yo! The weirder and more vivid you make it, the better it will stick in your memory. And here's another huge accelerator. You have to learn the characters. Why? Because the characters show you the building blocks of the language. It's like having a built-in mnemonic system for thousands of words. Plus, it lets you read along with subtitles or a transcript while you listen, which creates this incredibly powerful link in your brain between the sound, the symbol, and the meaning. Okay, so that's vocabulary building, check. Now for the second piece of the puzzle. Actually training your brain to get used to the sounds of Mandarin through smarter, more effective listening practice. And the secret weapon here is a concept called comprehensible input. This means you should spend most of your time listening to stuff where you already understand about 98% of it. When listening is that easy and low stress, your brain can relax and just effortlessly absorb the 2% that's new. So, when you're starting out, your listening diet should look like this. Spend about 80% of your time with that easy 98% comprehensible stuff. I'm talking about things made for learners, like graded readers or simple stories. Then, for the other 20%, go ahead and challenge yourself. Dip your toes into real native content like a TV show or a podcast, just to get a feel for the true speed and rhythm of the language. And over time, as your vocabulary gets bigger and bigger, you get to do this awesome flip. Eventually, you'll be spending 80% of your time just enjoying native content. TV, movies, whatever you want, because that has become your comprehensible input. And you'll only spend 20% of your time on more structured learning. Now look, this isn't going to happen in a weekend, but if you're consistent, it will happen. After about 50 hours of this kind of focused listening, you'll start to notice real, tangible results. Hit 100 or 200 hours, and the improvement will be huge. And then, one day, you'll realize that native speech doesn't sound like a wall of noise anymore. It sounds like a language. You'll start picking out words, then phrases, and then whole sentences without even trying. So there you have it. By building your vocabulary the smart way and practicing listening the effective way, you really can tear down that listening wall. You'll build this amazing foundation of understanding. But of course, once you've mastered listening, the next big, exciting question is, are you ready to start speaking?